So as you would have seen in our presentation, that some things were a little bit slow, and that's one of the learnings that we've had from this. Basically, because the Power Virtual Agent, it runs with Flow as the background sort of process. It means that when you sort of, especially for the searches we were doing and things like that, it can sometimes take a little bit to get the response back. So that was sort of one of our learnings, that there is actually no like typing prompt that comes up from the Power Virtual Agent. So I'm not sure if that's something that's possibly coming in the future, but it's probably something that it would be interesting if Microsoft could implement, so we know when there is a waiting, sort of a pause happening. One of the things that Paul implemented when he was doing it was just adding in an extra prompt saying, I will look into that for you, or I'll start searching for that now, just so the user knows what's sort of happening. Another one of the little bits of learnings we came across with it is that dates are interpreted in a US format when doing a sort of a short date format. It doesn't, apparently it states in documentation that it should recognize your local format, but when we were going testing, if you put a 7/8/23, it would actually interpret as the 8th of July rather than the 7th of August. However, if you do enter a date that is, say, above 12, so 13/8/23, it will correctly convert that to the 13th of August. But that's just one of the little bits of considerations that we did come across when doing that, which means that there could be some incorrect dates entered there, and you may need to tell clients that please enter a full date to get the correct one, which Paul did do in his example. And we've also noticed that sometimes the chatbot can be a little slow to boot up. I'm not sure if this is because we're in a trial tenant, so we just don't have resources applied to us, but the chatbot sometimes does take a little bit slower to boot up. And finally, we have set up the PVA to use omni-channel integration, and we still have a lot to look into this, as obviously as a company we haven't fully done the omni-channel. Thank you. We haven't looked fully into the integration there, so that's one of the big things we still have to look into. But one thing we did note, that the way we have built it is chats are not actually persistent. So as soon as the user leaves the chat, they cannot rejoin that chat again. However, the chat logs, as Isla mentioned, are retained in the channel for about 30 days.